Hi everyone. Today we're talking about default arguments in Python. So let's start with the why. Why would you want a default argument for one of your functions? Well, if you have a function that you know most of the time is going to have the same exact argument, then it's probably a good idea to just give it a default when you first create it. This will lead to less typing overall because every single time you call a function, you're writing the name of the function, you're following it by a set of parentheses in order to actually get it to work in your program. So if you start with the default argument, then you don't have to write the argument over and over and over again throughout your program. Let's go see what this looks like. So here we have a function with no default argument. The name of the function is called greet. The parameter of the function is called name. And then we return an F string that just says hello, and then it passes in the name object. Now, when we call the function, we again write the name of the function, greet, with parentheses. In order to display this in the console, we're passing this into the print function. And if I call this right now, you'll see that we get an error. We have a type error, and it tells us that the greet function is missing one required positional argument, name. So again, when we made this function, we said, hey, you have to tell me the name of the person that you want me to greet. So currently, with no default argument, anytime I want to use greet, I need to pass in the name. And I can do this two ways. I can just do this by passing in the name, and then it says, hello, Bob. Or I can do this as what's called a keyword argument, which means I can say name equals. And if I run that, you'll see it's the exact same output. So for now, we're just going to leave it like this. And let's go see what this looks like with a default argument. To create a default argument, when you create the function, you're defining the function, you write the function name, you pass in the parameter, and then you type in the equal sign. Remember, this is the assignment operator. So now we've given this a default value or a default argument of world. Now, when I come down here, you'll notice that I did not pass in any argument. It's just the name of the function, which is greet, followed by a set of parentheses. And again, we're passing it to the print function just so that it displays on the console. And when I run this, it says hello world. So now here the default argument for the greet function is world. If I don't pass anything into the parentheses when I call the function, it just says hello world. I can always change this. So I can always call this with a different argument other than the default. And now you'll see on the first one, the default is world. And on the second one, we've changed it to hello Bob. If you want to get a little bit fancier and you want to start type hinting these things, that's no problem. You can have type hinting and a default argument. We would just say, hey, we expect this to be a string. And the return value should also be a string. And again, there's absolutely no change in the output when we call these functions. Let's look at one more example though. So here you might recognize this function from the Newbie bite number 19. This is the speed check function. Essentially, if you're going over 100 kilometers per hour, it tells you to slow down. If you're going under 80 kilometers per hour, it tells you to speed up. Otherwise, it just says, thanks for driving safely. Currently, if we run this without any argument, we're going to get that same error. Let me scroll down here so we can see it. Speed check is missing one required positional argument speed. And so if we know that most of the time this function in our program is going to be at 90 kilometers per hour, we can go ahead and set that right here. So we're going to say that speed equals 90. And when I run it now, it says, thanks for driving safely. Good luck on today's bite. Go ahead and create the functions below and add some default arguments for them.